Okay, another review. This is kind of a series I've got a few more of these videos, but I'm going to be doing this quite frequently, so make sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. This is budget lenses. These are generally film lenses from the late 80s, early 90s that you could get that will work on your DSLR. There's a lot out there, and they're cheap, under $50, and a lot of them are very good quality and take some superb images. This is actually one of my favorites. Now this is on a Pentax, but this also comes in a Canon mount. This is the Sigma 28 to 80. It also has a macro function on here, so you can see there it says macro. So a lot of these will say macro, but they're not really macro. They just kind of put that on there. But this one actually has kind of a macro feature, which is very cool. You can see there the switch on the side. If you've watched my 75 to 300 Tamron review, it has the same sort of thing. So this is kind of a plastic body, but they do make this one is for Pentax, but they do make one for Canon. I've used the one for Canon, and it's equally as good. So just to let you know, metal back here, you can see the focus is fairly smooth. Then you've got zoom, sorry, and then you got your focus here. Let's put it on the camera and see what it looks like here. But like I said, it will work on, if you get the Canon version, it will work on any of your modern day Canon DSLRs, T2i, 3i, 4i, 5i, all the I ones, and even the 50D, 60D, 70D, 70, and even the full frames 5D and 6D. So let's try out a focus here. See how quick this thing focuses. There we go. That's pretty quick to focus. It's a nice little thing. I've had this on the Canon. It's really nice. I just love that feature right there, the macro feature. That you could switch. Now you only switch it. You can only switch it to that macro when it's in 80. And you might find a lot of these that are broken. Reason being, when you get into 80, you could switch in the macro mode. After you switch in the macro mode, you can't zoom out. It's that macro mode is only at 80, so people turn it and then they force the lens and it snaps inside because this is made of plastic. So just be aware of that. And if you use that macro mode and you notice it's not turning, that means you're in macro mode. So switch it back to normal, and then you could move this. Alright, so you might do a search for this and you might not be able to find this lens. You could actually search for it on a body, like a film body. So this one actually came on this Pentax MZ50. I bought this with another lens in a bag, I think for around 30 or 40 bucks. So you get some real budget lenses that way. You might also find, if you're looking for a Canon on an old Canon EOS film camera, it has to be an EOS though, that would have the EF mount if it was Canon. But as far as Sigma, I guess back in the 80s and 90s, they had this kit that came with, I think it was called a Super Zoom kit. So it came with this lens, and then it also came with like this one, a 100 to 300 f4.5 to 6.7. So it came with that, and then it also came with a camera bag. So I guess the camera stores tried to sell that because it was a lot cheaper than buying the Canon lenses or the Pentax lenses, to buy that third-party lenses, and they're actually very good lenses. So you might look for it that way too on eBay, like a Super Zoom Sigma lot or whatever. But if you just do a couple different searches, you'll be able to find this lens fairly cheap. It's fairly common and it's cheap. So very budget, very good. And here's some actual test shots. I took this out this morning on the Pentax K50, and you'll see how good this lens does perform. I love that macro feature. And